Before I get started, can I get a show of hands of who here actually has a product that they're looking to launch in the next year? Show of hands? Cool. Who here has no idea what crowdfunding is? Cool, all right. And who here is just here for general interest? Oh, fantastic, okay. So this talk is about how to hack crowdfunding and how to raise $100,000 in 8 days. Before I do that, you might want to know who the hell do I think I am to stand up here and talk about crowdfunding. Crowdfunding was a niche that I fell into. I'm going to get into my story in a little bit, but I am a startup advisor by trade, and I just happened to fall into crowdfunding with a few big wins in the last year. I'm originally from Ottawa. I now live in Toronto. I'm now a product launch specialist, so what I do is I help brands or startup founders take their products online through Indiegogo or Kickstarter. And I'm a big Tim Ferriss fan, so if anyone here knows the 4-Hour Workweek, that inspired me to really figure out how to make money online and be able to work and travel anywhere in the world, and that's just a side passion of mine to help people do that. So if you are an entrepreneur and have never read the 4-Hour Workweek, do it. It's a nice little fun read. I'm also a podcaster. I host Crowdfunding Uncut, so if you guys want to learn more about how to really get into campaign strategy and what makes a campaign successful, you can check that out. I have some pretty epic interviews there. Before I get into the campaigns I've been on, I just want to make sure we are all on the same page about what the heck crowdfunding actually is. Crowdfunding, there are so many different forms to it. There's the Kickstarter Indiegogo, which is what this talk is about. There's equity-based crowdfunding, there's royalty crowdfunding, there's a whole host of other ones, but for simplicity, today's talk is about if you have a product and you're looking to launch a business online through crowdfunding, then this talk is for you. Now, the two platforms I have the most experience with are Indiegogo and Kickstarter. When you launch a crowdfunding campaign, the goal is to raise money around a goal. So for example, one of the projects I was on, we had a goal of $40,000 to raise. We had a 30-day goal, so we wanted to raise $40K in 30 days to have enough money to to finish the prototype or to manufacture that. So our goal was to raise $40,000 within a certain period of time to accomplish some big goal. So crowdfunding is not an open-funded campaign. It's not, you have between 0 and 60 days, different lengths of time. And you have what's called backers or your customers, which give you money in exchange for something. So crowdfunding is not a donation. When you say, I'd like to raise money to bring my app to life, my product to life, whatever, your customers are essentially pre-ordering. It could be a t-shirt, it could be a thank you they get in exchange, or my favorite with physical products is they're actually pre-ordering that product that you will then deliver in 6 to 9 months once you take the money and then go and develop that. So that is really what crowdfunding is all about. Or with an app, which who here is thinking of using Kickstarter for an app? Yeah, so with this you'll use the money to develop your app and then go that way as well. Crowdfunding is right for nearly every kind of campaign I could think of except for one. It's great for physical products, it's great for apps, it's great for causes, it's great for events. So if you have a film you're trying to put on or raise money for something, that is fantastic. What it does not work for is a service-based business. So I'm a business consultant. If I try to sell one-on-one coaching, it's probably not going to work. But what might work is selling a digital course. So I can pre-fund through Kickstarter to actually create this course. That could work. So pretty much it can be done. And if you don't think it can be done, just do some research and see what other people have done as well. Because like Kickstarter's raised about $2.8 billion. So, you know, it's a really great landscape, and it's actually becoming the go-to funding model for small businesses, which is why I love it. So I want to give you a scope of some of the projects that I've been on. I deal specifically with physical products. The most recent is Shock Clock by Pavlok. It's a wearable that helps you break bad habits. We raised over $300,000 with that. Taplock is a Toronto-based company. We raised just over $250,000 with it. It's a really awesome padlock that helps you open with your unique fingerprint, so you don't need to remember keys or a combination lock. It's actually like one of my favorite projects. And then where I actually got my start into crowdfunding was another local-based firm called Thin Ice Weight Loss. This is where we raised close to $600,000. This was about 8 or 9 months ago now. And it's another wearable that helps you lose weight through cold temperatures. Won't go into the science, but it's pretty cool, so you can check that out as well. So collectively, I've helped companies raise over $1 million. And those are through campaigns that I've actually advised and managed. But the one question I get all the time is, okay, how did you learn how to do this? How did you actually get into crowdfunding? And the thing is that I didn't just get lucky with one campaign. It actually started with a failure. And that failure was about a year ago today. No, just maybe a year and a month ago. And it's where, it was actually with Thin Ice Weight Loss. I teamed up with a local founder, and he had this great idea. Didn't know anything about online marketing. I knew a little bit of online marketing at this point, but we teamed up to launch this thing on Kickstarter. At this time, I had no idea what crowdfunding was, but how hard can it be? We ended up getting onto Indiegogo, and in a month we raised $16,710 out of a $50,000 goal. So we raised exactly a third, maybe, of what we needed to bring this product to life. And that sucks. We got the money, but we couldn't do anything with it. So our angel investors wouldn't give us anything, but we're stuck with money. So how do we deliver a product with no money? Well, we had to relaunch. We had to decide to launch a second campaign, but somehow fix everything and hope for the best. And that second campaign did close to $600,000 about 3 months later. So just because something fails the first time does not mean you have something that nobody wants. It's actually comes down to a few factors, which in this talk I've distilled into the #1 mistake that creators make, which I'll get into exactly what we changed. So the #1 mistake that project creators make is making the assumption that because Kickstarter and Indiegogo have this massive community of backers, that all you have to do is launch your product and people are just going to give you money. It does not work that way. What actually it is about is it's a popularity contest. Has anyone here heard of Kickstarter's popularity algorithm? Woo, perfect. 2 people. Okay. So Kickstarter and Indiegogo get a commission off of every dollar that you raise for your crowdfunding campaign. They take a 5% cut. So in knowing this, when you actually log into Kickstarter, you are going to see some pretty successful campaigns in the trending section or on the first page. But how do those companies actually get there? How it works is when you launch your campaign, nobody on the site knows you exist. And how do you stand out above the noise when there are thousands of other campaigns on it? What happens is you actually have to create a snowball effect on your campaign. So what you need to do within the first 24, 48 hours of your launch, you need to get people backing your campaign. You need to get traffic to your page. You need to get comments and a whole bunch of activity so that Kickstarter and Indiegogo are going to be notified that, hey, this seems like something that people are interested in. So your ranking and your campaign starts to get boosted near to the front page. You start to hit the top of the text section, or the app, or the health section, whichever one you're in. You boost to trending, and then you somehow get to the front page. So what ends up happening is literally a snowball effect. You went from a few $1,000s raised to all of a sudden more and more people are finding out about your campaign. If there are any Redditors here, it essentially gets upvoted into popular because people love it. So if you want to know how campaigns start to take off, it's by having a ton of backers day 1 supporting your project so that it creates that momentum, and that's when you can start to take advantage of the crowdfunding community that is on these platforms. Seems easy enough, right? Not so much. So, and keep in mind too that obviously Kickstarter and Indiegogo make more money off the campaigns that get more traffic, so they want to help you. They have a vested interest in that. So let me show you this in action. Thin Ice on the second campaign two things we did. The first thing is we lowered our goal. We only needed, I know you probably can't read that, so I'll go into it, but we lowered our goal to $15,000 because we only needed that much to close the gap. The other thing is that we made sure that we were sharing and had a lot of our friends and family backing us on that first day. So the very first day we hit our goal in 20 hours, which is cool. Pitching. That first week is a bit of a grind, but by the end of that first week we were at about $70,000 raised. And on day 8, which is that huge spike, something awesome happened. Indiegogo sees that we're second and first on the site, and they featured us in their newsletter. So when your campaign gets submitted to thousands of inboxes, all of a sudden everyone's jumping on board because this is a new and it's an exciting and a hot campaign. So in that first day, or the first 8 days, anyways, we raised $155,000 in that 24-hour period, which brought us to, apparently that slide got deleted, but that brought us to about $225,000 raised in the first 8 days. All because we paid attention to that snowball effect and that popularity algorithm of having an audience as soon as you launch. So that is the main thing we changed that caused that momentum spike in that second campaign. So what I want to do is go through what are 3 things you can do to take advantage of this and get your campaign funded. A lot of these seem rudimentary, but we ignored them and we failed. So the very first one is know your audience. Don't just assume because you think your app or your product is the next best thing that someone else is going to think the same. You have to validate your product and make sure someone will actually give you money for this. That is the first one. Once you validate, the second thing you need to do is actually do what's called create a customer avatar, or it's really creating a profile, like a one-page description of who your perfect customer is. Who is this customer that is going to buy your product? What are their motivations for buying it? What needs does your product solve to this specific person? And the key with this is to be as specific as possible. I don't want to see, like, what I can do for my consulting is a bad avatar is someone who crowdfunds is in the startup space. That is awful. You need to actually give this person a face, a name, and occupation if you have to. How old are they? Are they married? Are they single? Why would they use your product? Really get into this. And why this matters is because you are building an audience online for the most part if you have an app or a product because you are going global with this. Before you know how you can find these people online, you need to know who they are and what their interests are so that you can do things as simple as Facebook advertising, or speaking to them, or finding out what threads and Reddit they go to. You really need to get into the brain of your customer and figure out what their motivations are so you can speak to them. If you want a really great exercise on how you can build your customer avatar, just go to Google. There's a really cool blog called, it's Ryan Battles. Great guy, he has an amazing exercise for how to actually do that. Or I could post it on the meetup later, but first one, know your audience. We were speaking to the wrong demographic with that first campaign, so when people came to our page, they bounced off and didn't buy. So our conversions were awful. That's one of the smaller things we changed. The second one is build an audience. I don't want someone to come to me and say, hey, I need you to help me with my campaign. And then I ask, when are you launching? And they say, tomorrow. Okay, have you built, no, we don't have a list, okay. Seriously, this happens. When I say build your audience, I don't mean your social media following. I literally mean an email list. An email list is the direct communication you can use to speak one-on-one with your customers, send them launch updates, and that noise it gets lost in the mess of Twitter feed. So build your email list. I can't go into how to do that, but the very first thing you should be doing is building a website or a landing page that is meant to capture email addresses, so at least you can have something on your business card when you come to meetups like this, and you can talk to people and get them in as well. So having your audience means that you have people to launch to, but the key is number 3, which is what do you do with that audience? So just say you have 5,000 email addresses ready to launch. What do? It's by using a tactic called scarcity. So when you launch, you need to incentivize people to back you day one. So I've used things with Indiegogo, like, or you can do it with both, these early bird reward packages. So with the shop clock, for example, we knew we were selling them for $100, but we gave the first 100 people a special price of $79, or even $69 for it. So we did a secret perk for people only on our list would get it for $69 on that first day. First 100 at $79, once that was gone, then $89 for 250. So you create a Boxing Day effect so that is the incentive. People love your product, they need to help you by backing it now, and you will reward them with that with a cheaper price. So that's really cool. I would suggest you use that with all the marketing you do, and not just say, hey, surprise, we have reward packages. You don't want people to discover this when they're on your page. You need to be using that in communication. I would even suggest that with Indiegogo, you cannot do this with Kickstarter, but Indiegogo, you can do a secret perk. So it's a link that only that unique person will see and nobody else. Not only that, but tell people why it's important to support you on the first day. Because if they really like you and what you're doing, they will help you get that support on the first day. So what I would usually say is, hey, thank you so much for your support. It really matters that you back us on the first or second day if you are serious about it, because that is going to help us rank on the website, get more press, more people, get more funding, and be able to create a better product for you. So those are just some things that you can do to make sure, because it's really all about having a big day one when you launch. That's it. So in terms of if you want a few more crowdfunding resources, I do have a blog, podcast, whatever, you can go to crowdfundinguncut.com. If you have any specific questions, you can email me at the letter K at crowdfundinguncut.com. So I think that's it. And some more questions. So
how many minimum emails do you recommend we get on your email list before you head out?
Yeah, great question. So that depends on your goal. If you, I don't recommend having 100,000. You could have 5,000 really great ones. It's quality versus quantity, really. So that, it does vary. Like, I've seen people raise $700,000 with only 1,000 people on their email list because the quality of the leads was a lot better. It was from awards or coming to meetups or speaking at events, and that's a lot more organic as opposed to just baiting someone on Facebook. I would generally assume that however much you're looking to raise on that first day, times that by, if there's a 1% conversion from an email list, so if you need 100 backers on that first day, that's 1% of how big your list should be. If that's general rule, yes.
Do you run a Facebook campaign the day of launch?
Yeah, that depends on your budget. If you have a big budget, I would recommend doing a pre-launch Facebook campaign to drive people for a giveaway contest or some sort of incentive to sign up for an email list. That's really going to help you. If you have a small budget, I would focus the campaign on after that first couple of days of launching, when your sales start to dip from that initial spike, because then you need that extra push. So, yeah.
What tips do you have for making the most of your email list?
Yeah, don't ignore them. So don't build it and then never email them. There's a really great book if you want to get into email marketing a little bit called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. When you email them, have an automated sequence that is a welcome email, so thanks for joining my list. And then the next day you can have here's a bit about my founder story and why I created this product for you. And then one in a couple of days can be just give them a bit more insight around the product. Leading up to launch, send them updates and increase the frequency of your emails once you're about 10 days away from launch. Yes?
With regards to your relaunch for that one product that you said you sort of ready for first failure.
Yeah.
Was there any, I noticed it was basically like the same look and feel of the site. Was there any consideration in retooling the look, having different like visual assets or not, just in case people that put
Yeah, great. So did we change not only strategy, but the way the page looked on the between the first Thin Ice campaign and the second one? Yeah, we were speaking to the wrong demographic. We were actually alienating the audience that we wanted buying the product. So we had to change a lot. We changed the headline. We changed some of the copy. I think the images were the same, but we basically took the feedback, rewrote it, and then sent it out to actual people who would buy the product to get their feedback as opposed to just keeping it within the team. So we did change a lot on the page as well. So, yes.
When you launch these things, like in your experience, are you working toward the launch date, or are you working are you working back from the launch date, or are you sort of like waiting until you have X number of people on your mailing list before you actually get?
Yeah, as a project manager, I love the accountability of a launch date. So I would recommend doing that, but don't have a hard launch date in case it's expectation setting. So you don't want to say, hey, we're launching October 4th, and then realize your video takes longer or whatever. So I'd give yourself a runway of about 6 months to prep for the campaign, 3 to 6 months, and then you can say launching in the fall, and then as you get closer, you can say October or whatever. So, yeah.
Really quick question. You're saying about getting people out of start meet up with these,
Yeah.
and then adding them to your email list. That's again.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah.
Do not take, okay, if I meet someone tonight, I will never add them to my list. Okay, so that's super spammy. So what I mean by that is if you're having a conversation with someone who's really interested in your project, you can say, hey, do you mind if I add you to my list? Or you can just give them your business card and say, for more information, here's our website.
But then you need to have a second opt-in, right? In this kind of case, because I'm not buying the product.
Sorry, a second update.
Second opt-in. The first opt-in,
Oh.
they give you the email, and second opt-in.
Yeah, so if you verbally, like if I go to you and say, hey, so you want me to email you some information, do you mind if I just add you to my mailing list? If he says no problem, I can just put in his information to like MailChimp or something. But if he goes and does it himself, then he has to go to the web page and sign up. Okay.
Hey, can you name a few examples on how you obtain the mailing list online? Not by
Yeah, okay, great example. How do we build a mailing list? So a few things. I love content strategy. So you're posting on social media, for example. In your Instagram profile, in your Twitter, whatever, you will have a link back to your website. And people who see what you're doing go back that way. That's indirect. One of my favorites right now is we're launching a physical product in October, but we don't have a beautiful prototype yet. So what we did is created a teaser video, which is a 30-second video, which will show 15 seconds how it works, and then 15 seconds of people using it to gauge their reactions. And so what we did is we put that on social media, or like on YouTube, Facebook. People watch it, and there's a call to action at the end where they say, hey, do you want this to be yours? Go to our website, sign up for early discounts. That's something. You can create videos around features or like mini commercials. Blog posts work really well. Facebook has been the absolute best in terms of reaching a wider audience as well. Giveaway competitions are fantastic. If leading up to it, say 4 weeks before launch, you give away, you'll say, hey, you get to win this free product, sign up now. But you don't actually give them the product until after you fulfill. So those work really well too. Yeah, I can go on, but those are the main ones, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yes. Yep. So what do you do? Okay. Cool. So if you are launching for an app, what kind of reward packages can you use? Okay, so what can you do? You can do t-shirts, work really well with apps. You can do accessories, lifetime memberships, free credits. You can do like VIP day with the founding team sometimes works really well. In cases where I haven't specifically managed a campaign like an app, I would also suggest that you go and see what the other successfully funded apps have done, because you might get a really great idea for a reward too. But it's something tangible that way as well. Yes?
I don't remember hearing anything about press on the call.
Yeah.
How about failures? So My question is like this part. Did you go for press in the first round? If you didn't, why not? And if you did, how hard was it to get press in the second round?
Yeah. So press doesn't pick up anything that's not new and noteworthy. So we pitch press for all the campaigns, but press usually waits for crowdfunding. I think our story wasn't the greatest the first time around, but they will also wait until your campaign gets a bit of momentum before they agree to actually support you. So a lot of the press you'll get will be because your campaign is doing really big numbers, or you have a really great founder story as well. With the shot clock by Pavlok, that was really easy because we had the hardware already and we can ship it to people about 3 weeks before the campaign and line up the press so that we stack that when we launch. But I think press is a numbers game. Focus on your story, not your product. That usually works really well. And if you get any press, don't let them write about you until after your campaign launches. Reason is it's going to hurt anyone else who wants to write about you. And secondly, if they write about you on the first day of the campaign, there's probably nothing to write about. And if TechCrunch writes about you on the first day and you've only raised $5,000, not saying that's going to happen, but new traffic will come to your page and see, hey, this isn't really anything exciting. But if you get press to write about you on day 2 or 3, once you're about 75% funded, there's something to talk about, and that's going to be when herd mentality steps in and you can raise more money off of the press. So does that answer your question? Right, yes.
So what are some things you can do to kill your crowdfunding campaign? You talked about some of the tips to do it. What are some things like
If you want to kill your campaign, don't build an audience, number one. Don't talk to a single customer. So don't do any customer interviews or make any attempt to understand your customer and why someone would want to buy it. And develop something that nobody needs. Or create something at such a high price point with a ridiculous product that nobody will buy it. That's what I would say. But what else? Or set your funding goal too high. So don't be greedy as a founder. I get so many people coming to me saying, I don't know why my campaign has failed, but they've set a goal of $150,000 to create like energy bars. They would like to raise $150,000, but they really only need $10,000 or $20,000 for that initial run. So go set your goal with what you absolutely need to get funded, and don't set it too high because you will shoot yourself in the foot.
Thank you, Christopher.